As the weekend draws to a close, all eyes are on the 8th wonder of the world as Sydney FC take on the Central Coast Mariners for round 4 of the Ninja A-League. While the undefeated Sydney FC secured their first win of the season last week against Perth Glory after starting the season with consecutive draws against Melbourne City and Adelaide United. They've started 3 of their first 4 games here at Leichhardt Oval and look to keep their fortress undefeated before going onto the road next week. And Mariners return to New South Wales for the first time since round 1. They've had a tough 2 weeks away to face both Melbourne teams, going down 4-0 to City and then 1-0 loss to Melbourne Victory in the grand final match last week. This is how they will be lining up this afternoon. So no changes for Sydney FC across their entire matchday squad, as is the norm with Ante Juric's decisions. And then, of course, Sarah Hunter captaining in her 50th appearance for Sydney. Young gun Sky Halamark came off the bench in the 90th minute last week. She's retained her spot in the matchday squad. And wholesale changes for the Central Coast Mariners. Annabelle Martin, Isabel Gomez and Annalise Rasmussen all start for the first time this season. Avani Prakash, Kaya Buchanan and Janea DeSantos drop to the bench. We'll also see for the first time in yellow, Millie Farrow with the potential to come off the bench and against her former side. Mackenzie Hawkesby getting us underway here at Leichhardt Oval. The final game of the weekend. Tori Truman sliding in with that header. Sydney immediately looking to push forward. Teresa, any last-minute predictions as this match gets underway?
Well, look, it's a home game for Sydney. They've had the momentum, so I think for them, they're looking like they'll take it out today. But look, I think the Mariners will really bring their best game in this match. Like I said, both teams, they know a lot of each other across both teams, and you always want to get one over your mates, don't you? So I think it'll be quite a fiery match out there today.
Pearson and Fenton just really playing it between the two. Of course, Willa Pearson, the record breaker, has played every minute so far. Well, 3 starts and played 390 so far in her Sydney FC career. Looking really to start just by building it up from the back, Sydney. Going more patient route today, Teresa.
Yeah, just the early stages of the match, and I think they're figuring out what the Mariners might be doing in terms of the press. So just trying to figure each other out, a bit cagey to start with. It's pretty normal when you've got a game like this to sort of check out what the opposition's going to do from a defensive point of view.
Bauman tries to switch up the play. There's a loss of footing there from Barrett Gray, but she's able to get there quick as soon as she's upright. Fenton looks up, plays it low to the feet of Casa. Takes a bit of deflection of Quilligan into the path of Hawkesby. Scoops it up in the air, flashes past. And almost backwards was Martin trying to direct it to Trimis. And positive signs from both teams. And they're attacking. Sydney should be aware now. Might not be, given that the full-time score of Melbourne Victory and Wellington Phoenix has just happened, that they could potentially go top of the ladder if they secure all 3 points this afternoon. Kogo to Scipio. Strong defensive work from Tumith, just jockeying around the body, putting it out from a corner, the first we've seen in this match.
Well, that's good work there from Coco de Scipio. She feints one way, goes the other. Tumith does well to defend her there, but they win the corner. Good stuff from the Mariners going forward, winning their duels.
Quilligan on corner duty. Lofty high ball, parried away by Robertson. Gomez first 2 on the chase against Hunter. Calls for support. Bauman now on the chase. Scoops it. And Robertson had her fingertips out. Eventually Work there from Garlich, just having to really chase onto that ball. Casa wanted to open up the space and go with one touch immediately. There to close down.
There's Bowman with the cross in. Robertson lucky there that a Mariners player wasn't roaming in and around that 6-yard area.
Ball across from Garlich, it bounces underneath, and Tanner, a little bit of push and shove with Martin. Hunter had her eyes up, decides to go for the strike, and had to take something strong from Sarah Langman to pounce on that ball in the end. That was great from Hunter, and it could have been a massive moment in this milestone game for her. We saw in last week's game that there's moments that were able to break free. Of course, the goal scorer, Garlich for the first one, Riley Tanner set her up, and of course Tanner scoring one of her own 17 minutes later. Martin now looking up, Rasmussen rising high, was always floating off target. Flag was up.
Good ball in from Martin, and Rasmussen, she's got that presence in the box there, but just a little bit off balance there to get anything on goal. I don't think Tumeth quite expected the flick there.
First touch a little heavy from Bauman, and again Casper's there to pounce. A scrap in the midfield is on between these two teams. Martin breaking free. Looks left and right, puts the ball in the middle for Rasmussen. Directs it wide to Trimis. Dancing the ball, she directs it in the middle. In the end, a little flash off the head, and Robinson more than happy to grab it.
There's the cross in from Trimis. She hits Krajula there. It's a good cross in, but Krajula couldn't get enough on it.
Scipio taking on one the other. Goes for a shot, not a bad one. It's always sailing over. It had the power behind it to really put some hesitation into Tiana Robinson's head.
We've seen this before from Coco DeCipio. She's exceptional at those feints on the ball running at you. It's trouble, and we saw it there. She really was able to use that feint to open up a shot. Again, Gomez getting into the thick of the action there, and not happy with the decision, but very obvious she used a forearm there in the back of Tanner.
Hunter's really high lofty delivery. Langman punches it out. Casa brings it back in. It goes behind the back. Hawkesby on the bounce. Bart Gray the last to connect. So the first Sydney corner of the evening.
Neither team really dealt very well with this here. It was quite messy, but Sydney benefit overall with the corner of a bouncing shot and a deflection off Martin there.
Quite a dangerous area, but maybe this could spark something special for Sydney.
I think the instruction is to move things quickly out there.
Gomez again with the interception. Rasmussen off balance, does just enough to push it towards Trimis. Coco DeCipio arriving for support. Trimis sends Pearson to the ground. Up in the air. There's a collision of players. The ball stays in. Casa launches along. They'll sail out right near the halfway line. Let's have another look.
It was Quilligan in between Tumeth and Garlich there, and there's the big shout for a penalty there.
Will we see either team try and break through this deadlock before they head into the halftime sheds? Garlich again. Gets caught. The referee, Abdulli, just looking to see whether it was worth paying advantage on that ball, that foul against Garlich.
She got the pass away, and Rasmussen did clip her from behind.
And Quilligan cut off her space in front, so there really wasn't much room for her to go to continue on. Tanner dancing through space. Riley Tanner just in the back foot was king, and in the end cleared. One of the better chances we've seen so far in this match.
And it looked like we were watching a replay from last week there. That's exactly what Tanner is fantastic at. And even though you know as a defender what she's going to do, she's just so good at doing it, so unpredictable.
Well, referee Paige Maliadoli calls an end to the opening 45 minutes here at Leichhardt Oval. Neither team able to break through the deadlock. Few chances, plenty more fouls between the two. It's hot and humid conditions. And at halftime, it is Sydney FC 0, Central Coast Mariners 0. So back underway here at Leichhardt Oval. Who will be first to break through the deadlock? Kerkel getting involved early. And already getting stuck in the middle. Caspers. Just confirmation of those substitutions. So Mackenzie Hawkesby off for Jodie Kerkel. Fenton sending it to the sky. Lemon forced to clear the ball. Well, some very interesting changes there, T.
Yeah, two attacking changes. Fuller comes on for Coco DeCipio, and we know what Tiana Fuller can bring to this Mariners team. She was such an exciting player for the Mariners in her breakout season last season, so she'll be wanting to do more of the same in this game. Come on, make an impact and score a goal.
Restarting. Plenty of opportunities here for the Mariners. Tiana Fuller, like you said, brilliant breakout season. Likely will be the longest she'll play so far in the 2025-26. The long ball in, had to be headed clear. Not quite over the line. Tiana Robertson goes down. The foul is called against her, but that was a really strong opportunity for the Mariners.
Great ball in there from Quilligan and Tiana Robertson. It was Fenton that went up for it, and that ball was right on the line there.
Good afternoon and welcome to round 5 of the Ninja A-League as Melbourne Victory play host to Perth Glory at the home of the Matildas. A standalone fixture this weekend, and it's between two sides coming off the back of losses, eager to turn around those tides. Melbourne Victory fall into the Phoenix last weekend while Perth have lost 3 on the trot. This afternoon poses an important result to get things back on track for both sides. Short delay at the home of the Matildas as a little lightning pushed things back about 15 minutes. A cool afternoon at Bundoora. A little bit of a breeze, but that rain clearing with everything set to get underway shortly. Plenty of fans streaming in to see Victory take on Perth. Victory loyals back at home and wanting to see their side get back to winning ways. Let's have a little look at the ladder. Round 5 this weekend with all but this game rescheduled due to the international window. See Sydney on top, yet to lose a game this season. The Jets, Victory and Brisbane starting reasonably well, and it's Wellington and City rounding out the top 6. Plenty of movement still in these early rounds of the Ninja A-League. So there's the bench players making their way through. A couple of familiar faces there returning to the matchday squads this afternoon, which is great to see. But we will have a look at how the teams are lining up this afternoon. There's one change to the home team as Claudia Bunge is away with the football ferns, so a spot opens up at the back. Laura Pickett comes into defence, and while the team sheet suggests it's Grace Marr dropping in alongside Kayla Morrison, that formation will reveal itself shortly. Otherwise, an unchanged 11 from the side that lost to the Phoenix last week. But in big news, Taylor Ray joins the matchday squad for the first time this season and is set to make her victory debut off the bench. So both teams making their way onto the centre of the field. Rihanna Pollicina, Minnie as she's affectionately known, is enjoying life in a Victory shirt since moving across from City. 2 goals for the season, but it's her leadership and experience that Jeff Hopkins has praised, acknowledging that we knew what we'd get from her on the field, but it's been a real pleasure seeing what she's added off field for this Victory side. Perth Glory not impacted by players on international duty, but definitely feeling the weight of their injury list. 2 changes with Naomi Chinema coming into the starting 11 and Ella Lincoln for the first start of the season. Emma Tovar hasn't travelled due to a minor injury. Bronte True drops to the bench, while Georgia Cassidy is back from a hamstring injury on the bench today. Keep an eye out for Clancy Westaway, a highly regarded young midfielder on the bench and looking to make her A-League debut this afternoon as well. Well, there is 21-year-old Ella Lincoln, who makes her first start in the Ninja A-League today. Her second year at Perth Glory, with all appearances prior to today coming off the bench. A great opportunity for a young attacking player to get some good minutes under her belt, and she's looked really lively in the opening few rounds of the Ninja A-League. Well, reflecting on the loss to the Knicks last week, Jeff Hopkins said the performance in the first half was disappointing, but believes that when the attitude is right, his side can dictate good teams. So arriving today focused, dialed in, and with a job to do back at home. There is our centre referee for the afternoon, Michaela Ryan, taking care of proceedings today. And a couple of young fans delivering the match ball. In the opposite dugout is Stephen Peters. We have to be ready to go to war against Victory, his words across the week. The side arrives today with 3 consecutive losses, a really tough run for Perth Glory. And in those 3 losses, 9 goals conceded. The first thing his side needing to do is to tighten up defensively. As much as Rola Badawia has looked like a live wire, they're just shipping a few too many goals at the back. Kayla Morrison, of course, donning the captain's armband for her side. But it's Alyssa Delostay still between the sticks for this Perth Glory team. Opposite end, Courtney Newbon has had a really solid start to the season, and we're all systems go after a short lightning delay. Something Perth Glory are all too familiar with, but we are underway at the home of the Matildas for this standalone round 5 Ninja A-League match between Melbourne Victory and Perth Glory. It's a fixture that well and truly favours the navy blue. Victory undefeated in their last 6 against Perth. And you have to go all the way back to February 2022 to find the last time Glory toppled the navy blue. But I am pleased to be joined this afternoon by former Matilda Alicia Ferguson and Ish. It's a big ask for Perth against an experienced Melbourne Victory side.
That's right, Grace. And as you said, I think the main thing today, especially for this first 45 minutes, is maintaining a clean sheet, especially after conceding so many goals. You can see already trying to stay compact. Perth, they're not really pushing on. I don't think they would want to press high and leave gaps in behind.
Well, looking forward early is Pollicina, releasing the pass through, has really good shape about it, chasing down Holly Furphy, who's rapid. Offside flag's gone up, but Alyssa Delostay has come off second best in that challenge.
Lovely little ball from McMeekin into Furphy, and they're the runs that are going to be really dangerous. Kennedy White has pace up front, Holly Furphy trying to probe in behind, so something that Perth will need to get a handle on early.
And perhaps an early scare for Alyssa Delostay, who has stayed down after that challenge. Backup keeper on the bench this afternoon, Jessica Skinner. We know Teresa Morrissey too, yet to return for Perth Glory, but is in the crowd this afternoon watching her side.
Ooh, just fell awkwardly. There was a collision of knees between Furphy and Delostay. You can see the physio just doing a few little tests about stability. Not too much padding when it's knee against knee.
Well, a tough one, and not the start Perth or Delostay would want. A little conversation happening with Stephen Peters, Tiana Gauci, assistant coach. It's been a really tough few games for Peters. 3 losses in a row, last that 3-0 defeat to Canberra at McKellar Park.
It looks like she's going to continue on, which is good. That's one of those things, the depth of the squad, when you've got a few injuries coming out off the back of a few losses as well. Alyssa Delostay, an experienced goalkeeper, and you really want to try and keep that spine of the team intact.
Well, good to see Delostay is okay to continue. Starting all games for the Glory since moving across from Western United. And Charlie Wainwright looking to move things forward for Glory. Here's Grace Johnston looking to take the throw for Perth. She's been really solid despite some difficult results for the Glory. And that's hurried along well by Victory. Johnston's throw. Quickly picked up, but given away as Roller Badawia has a little bit of space to think about it. Releases Sardo. Her centering cross is nodded away by Ma.
We were talking about the setup earlier on. It just looks like Grace Ma's just sitting in front of that back 3. Kayla Morrison in the centre. Laura Pickett on the right-hand side.
Chinema's pass will just escape and has just edged over the sideline in that bottom corner, deep in Victory's defensive half. And Janchevsky will heave a throw forward and try and gain a little bit more ground. Janchevsky, of course, against her former side, spent a couple of years at Perth Glory back in season in 2021 to 23. But has found a real home at this left fullback position, the number 66. And So you can see that rain just coming down the home of the Matildas. Bit of lightning flashed in the background during warm-up, which is what pushed the kickoff a little past 4 local time. But things are moving here. Here's Morrison and Laura Pickett, who has come back into the starting 11. Claudia Bunge, of course, on international duty with New Zealand and the Football Ferns. She's unavailable, and that's a little giveaway loosely. Here's Johnston. Cuts inside and then releases the pass to Lincoln. Her centering ball is neatly taken by Newbon.
Well, that's something Victoria want to tidy up. Just trying to play out from the back there. Rachel Lowe dropping a little bit deeper. Grace Maher obviously being in a bit more of that holding position, so Pollicina and Rachel Lowe can push a little bit further forward. But Perth look nice and compact at the moment. You can see they're not too worried about going and chasing the ball, just trying to stay compact and make sure those distances in between them are quite small.
Well, Kennedy White will give chase, and she's been a really bright prospect to Melbourne Victory in the opening few games. Found the back of the net on 4 occasions. That hat-trick against the Western Sydney Wanderers, a real highlight. It's a soggy old afternoon.
Typical Melbourne weather. It'd be interesting to see how the pitch holds up, whether it gets heavier or whether the ball's able to move a little bit quicker.
Oh, here's a little look for Victory. A bit of a hopeful lob over the top, results to nothing. And this has been the only fixture of the weekend. 3 other Ninja A-League fixtures originally scheduled were rescheduled due to international call-ups across the league. Most recent of those, Canberra United against Sydney FC. Of course, Canberra without Michelle Heyman, Liz Anton, and Sydney FC, a host of young Matildas. So that one rescheduled as well. So this being the only fixture of round 5 going ahead on this weekend.
And taking into consideration that congestion that will happen during the Asian Cup coming up in March as well.
Here's Pickett. Finds McMeekan's feet. It's closed down by Johnston. McMeekan inside to Lowe. And back through Pickett again.
You can definitely see the heaviness of the pitch now. I think Grace, with that water on the rain teeming down, there was a little puddle when McMeekan just planted her foot. Be interesting to see how these conditions actually play out for the game. Obviously, Victory want to play with the ball at their feet. They want that build-up play. They've got some great quality players, Pollicina and Rachel Lowe, and even that pass there from Pollicina just held up on the pitch.
Well, the rain continues to fall, and that's fallen kindly to Lowe. You can switch the point of play and find Janchevsky. Sakalis can face forward, nicely done. Her pass to Lowe. Victory comfortable just to hold onto the ball and pick their time.
You can see Perth just sitting in here in almost a mid to a low block. Victory struggled to break down the Knicks last week in the second half. Something probably Perth have had a look at and thought, right, let's see if we can do the same thing against them again, taking into consideration the conditions here.
Well, that long searching ball over the top has a bit too much skip about it. Lowe was the intended target. Dallas stay off her line well.
And it just changes the whole picture of the game, especially with a player like Kennedy White with so much of her pace up front. When it's transitional and it's great, you can play that ball in behind, but with a defence sitting so deep makes it far more challenging to find those pockets of space.
That pass from Furphy was read by McKenna. Just as quickly as it's with Perth, it's handed back to Victory. But you're right, Victory had a hard time last week against Wellington. What was a well-organised Phoenix shape. Of course, young Pia Vlock, a real revelation in that Phoenix side. The 1 goal scorer. Victory just could not find a response. It was a frustrating result, but a hard trip across the ditch. Here's Pollicina. Pushes the ball forward to Furphy. Johnston gets body position well, and that centering ball did really well to find White. Perth Glory's defence coming in just the nick of time. Sakalis, nice little touch forward as she's brought to ground. Slippery surface. It's Badawia retreating to help out.
And that's twice now, that combination of McMeekin and Furphy down this right-hand side, getting a little bit of joy, a little bit of luck there. Deflection, Kennedy White on hand to have the shot on goal, but maybe that is that pocket of space where they're going to try and exploit.
Possession stats heavily favouring Victory, which passes the eye test. Just a bit over 70% to the home side, just shy of 30 to Perth Glory.
Yeah, interesting to see. Badawia was the one that won that free kick, and how deep she was in a defensive position. Such a good attacking player, obviously understanding the defensive duties. But really, you want her to be further up the pitch.
Victory can slip away and look for a chance forward. The ball would have to be good and get the measure right on that occasion. Again, just a little bit too much.
I think that's going to be the difficulty for the players at the moment, Grace. The rain's eased off a little bit. Just trying to work out the weight of the passes. The ground definitely seems like it's a little bit heavier. So when you have to put more weight on the pass or take a little bit of weight off to make it skid through.
It's a cool afternoon, 16 degrees. Some would say perfect conditions for football. Nice, quick surface. So Perth, who are playing their third consecutive away game as well, have had a lot of travel, a lot of time in the air, and just struggled to find the back of the net. Their last time scoring was in their round 2 loss against Brisbane Roar. Badawia and Ella Lincoln that day wasn't quite enough, and Roar came away with the result. Here's Chinema. She needs a bit of support. Finds it through McKenna. Now Holler. Stretches to Johnston, but that's just slipped over the sideline.
That was well played. Naomi Chinema had actually stepped into midfield out of the back line to put pressure on the Victory player, not allowing him to turn. And I think that's a really good tactic to employ. You can see there's not many players. They don't really have a focal point, the Victory at this point. Kennedy White's dropping back a little bit further. Furphy's trying to get down the right-hand side. So for Chinema to actually step in and get to the ball and make sure that no one can actually turn and start running at them was really well played.
Well, passing accuracy, not particularly favourable to that of Glory.
You just hear Jeff Hopkins yelling out, get higher, get higher.
Pollock can face forward. Johnston, who's worked well to find forward space up against Pickett. Centering cross, and is comfortably read by Victory's defence. Here's Rachel Lowe. Pushes wide to Janchevsky. Furphy, happy to chase. Has a bit of space, just glances up, assesses the picture. White is in a good central position. White's header straight to the hands of Dallas Day.
Well, it was a lovely run from Holly Furphy down that left-hand side. She had plenty of time to actually pick out Kennedy White. She was just a bit static. Kennedy White kind of had to step back and couldn't get any power on it. There's definitely space in those wide areas. And Holly Furphy, I like how she's like just drifting from one side to the other.
Furphy again, looking lively in these opening passages. Blocked by Zog. White now and Low. Janchevsky, dangerous on her left, slips it through to Pollicina. Side net in. Home crowd at the home of the Matildas would have been forgiven to think that had gone in the back of the net.
That was such a beautiful pass into Pollicina. Janchevsky just saw the run. Pollicina, beautiful run there. I would probably bet my house on it that Rihanna Pollicina would have scored 9 times out of 10. But I like the little probing run, making that forward nice and positive run by Pollicina. Great opportunity for the Victory.
Nice move by the home side. And Pollicina looks exactly that, looks at home at Melbourne Victory, looks really comfortable, combining well with her midfield and forwards. Here's Victory again, Ma steps forward. Victory's defence can play around under no pressure whatsoever. Morrison, time and space to pick out her pass. Gonzalez has found herself in an offside position.
And I think we're going to see quite a bit of this today, aren't we? And so how are Victory going to break down this mid-block, compact, organised Perth Glory team? They don't really care about going out and chasing the ball, winning it back in the opposition half. And that brings its own challenges to the Victory. Jeff Hopkins before was encouraging them to get more width. And that's what they need to do. They need to try and stretch Perth into wide areas because they are staying so compact and protecting the centre of the pitch.
Here's McKenna. Badawia. Referee just evades the attention of that pass. Across comes Pollicina with a good sliding challenge. McKenna, decision to make, finds Johnston. Nice little touch from Grace Johnson, that's neatly done. Now Badawia looks to slip through, but gets another chance. Pressure coming through from Victory's defence. That pass a little too easily read, and Victory can fairly comfortably play their way out of danger. McMeekin, her pass wayward. Ponsong Cam intercepts. Back with Johnston. Wainwright. And Chinema edging forward. Sardo slips down the line. And Badawia scraps for front position, but Janchevski's done well.
Yeah, I thought there was a little push in the back there on Badawia. That was a really nice little sustained period of possession for Perth Glory. They won the ball back. McMeekin gave that ball away on this left-hand side, and then they just maintained their composure, got the ball out, switched the point of attack. I really liked seeing Naomi Chinema actually stepping forward, joining in the attack, and trying to spread the Melbourne Victory players and really utilise those wide areas.
Kennedy White is currently leading the Golden Boot tally with 4 goals. Pretty congested areas there. Benty Jansen and Shelby McMahon not too far behind. Gabby Holler as well involved in today's game. So plenty of capable goal scorers. And there is Pollicina and Badawia still putting their hand up. McMeekin, who moved across to Victory this year from the Wellington Phoenix. The 21-year-old has taken up residence in that right fullback position for the Victory. Janchevski's raking pass. Can't quite find a teammate. Here's McMeekin. Kayla Morrison pinning down the centre of defence, as she so often does. Perth Glory just happy to hold their shape and pick their time to pinch forward. Here's Pickett. Well, it's Kennedy White looking to be strong on the ball, and McKenna has a bit of an argument about that call.
It was well done by Kennedy White. Just got her body in front, leant back into the defender, drew the foul as well.
Johnson copping a bit of attention from Brianna Pollicina, and it will be a couple of likely suspects standing over the ball in Pollicina and Janchevski. The left boot of Janchevski, a really viable option. Pollicina really capable on the right as well. So Janchevski just peels away, drags the attention of one of the wall. Pollicina's clip into a dangerous area is dealt well with by Chinema. Still with Pickett and Victory. That pass a little narrow. Pickett looking to make amends. blocked well by Sardo, who goes to ground.
You can just hear Jeff Hopkins constantly urging the players on. I think trying to pick up the tempo of the play as well, trying to get that width. Constant stream of instructions out there from Jeff. He has that intensity during the 90 minutes of the match. Obviously wants his team pushing forward, up in the tempo, keeping pressure on the Perth Glory defence. I mean, this has been a strength of Melbourne Victory for many seasons as well. Their set pieces, we've seen Kayla Morrison score so many from corners.
Well, here's Pollicina's delivery. Scooped into a dangerous-ish area, and Sakalis can't quite make the most of the opportunity. Still alive, and McMeekin's done well to keep this alive for Victory. The first-time strike is really, really good from Melbourne Victory. And it's the American, it's Kennedy White, for her 5th goal of the season. She extends her lead on the Golden Boot ladder, and it felt like it was coming for the home side. That's a nice finish.
And it wasn't the first phase from the set piece, it was the second phase. McMeekin almost looked like she scuffed it here, but what a great ball back across the face of goal in that really dangerous area between the 6-yard box and the penalty spot. And Kennedy White kind of just leaning back and away, popped that into the top right-hand corner. The Perth Glory players just got in a huddle straight after conceding that goal, so it'll be interesting to see what the approach is now, whether they still maintain trying to keep that compact, organised shape, or whether they think, right, well, now we've got to chase the game. Still early days, still early on in the game though, but frustrating to have conceded in that manner.
And a really well taken finish by Kennedy White. He's a proven goal scorer. If you've not seen her yet in the Ninja A-League, she's come from the Hungarian First Division. And we'll come back to that point in a second because Badawia has a bit to say about it. Here's Chinema. Sardo with a bit of space ahead of her. The ball in slippery surfaces, and it drops to Badawia, who you'd want it to drop to off the post. Ricochets, and Ella Lincoln can't prod it home. A really perfect moment for Glory to get an immediate response.
Well, Courtney Newbon just couldn't hold that. Badawia, such a tight angle. And Ella Lincoln just couldn't get enough on that to steer it home. I mean, what a response that would have been. I feel like the intensity is upped a little bit already from Perth Glory. And sometimes that does happen when you concede. You're like, right, now what we've got to do, we've got to go chasing the game. We can't just sit back here anymore. Oh, unfortunate miss from Ella Lincoln.
Well, it skipped off the surface. Newbon struggled to hold on to the first strike or the first delivery. Rebounds to Badawia off the post and then into the path of Ella Lincoln, but it just came at her quickly, a little too quickly.
Yeah, it would have been a great goal from Badawia if she'd scored from that angle as well. Like millimetres away from that, just ducking in off the near post.
Just a little bit of feeling come into this game. Furphy goes to ground but can recover her feet well. A little sore from that one. Here's McKenna. Wants to get things back in Perth's attacking end. Holler, good strength. Badawia turns into trouble.
Can even see now that Perth just look like they're just on the front foot a little bit more. That intensity is definitely upped, getting closer to the players, trying to win the ball back. I actually think, and sometimes it does happen when you do concede, it can kind of spark you into action.
Pollicina will chase. Looking for the corner, gets it off the feet of Naomi Chinema.
Well, important for Perth Glory to ensure they don't make the same mistake twice. It is a strength of Melbourne Victory. They are very good at set pieces, but it wasn't the first phase. It was like the second or third phase where it came back out the other side. McMeekin just being able to cross that ball back across the face of goal for Kennedy White to finish.
Pollicina again, her last delivery was scooped, probably needed a little bit more speed about it. Janchevsky scuffs the shot. Lowe can find again Pollicina. into the box and up and under away. Now Janchevsky nodded back, but it's toward the goalkeeper, Dallas State.
I think that was quite a tough ball for Janchevsky to deal with to try and get a strike on goal. Pollicina had kind of just bounced it in. It almost looked like it was going to hit the referee for a second, which may have put Janchevsky off a clean strike.
Here's low. There's definitely a little bit more energy in the last couple of minutes. We've just ticked over the 25-minute mark, and Charlie Wainwright is gaining the attention here of Rachel Lowe, who wasn't too pleased about the contact.
No, well, I think the referee had a little chat to her about that. A little nudge in the back. She could have been, she's probably lucky she didn't get a yellow card. A little bit of retaliation by Rachel Lowe, a bit of frustration there.
Janchevsky puts the head down, releases Pollicina. Now Sakalis, also against her former side. Centre in ball again, difficult areas. McMeekin arriving. He's getting into some really good positions. What a pickup Kennedy White has been for Jeff Hopkins' side. I was saying before that last passage, coming across to Australia from the first division in Hungary, where she found the back of the net 32 times. Knows how to score a goal, but now Victory with some defending to do. Grace Johnston, she's charged down cleverly by Furphy. Here is White, retreating to pick up possession for her side.
Holly Furphy's been all over the pitch in this first 26 minutes. She's dropped back deep to get the ball to her defensive duties as well. She's kind of drifting from one side to the other, trying to find that space in behind the Perth Glory defence.
Sakalis drops the shoulder, looks inside. That pass only meets Johnston, who's been really busy in this opening 25 minutes. Morrison. Pickett down the line, blocked yet again by Johnston. Morrison, square to Pickett. Pollicina in front. Again, just picking their moment. Now McMeekin. Pushed backwards by McKenna, who's done well. You hear the shouts of keep it from Perth Glory coach Stephen Peters.
Commentator's curse and coach's curse, Grace. Defending reasonably well. I think Melbourne Victory, they're definitely trying to get the ball into those wide areas. A couple of times, though, they haven't had an option, square or deep inside underneath the ball to then get to switch it back out. So probably something that they could just keep an eye on there if they are rotating in midfield or from their forward positions, just making sure that person in that wide area doesn't just have an option in front or behind, that they actually have someone inside who can switch the point of attack.
There's plenty of attack happening down this right-hand side for Melbourne Victory. Tian McKenna has been busily put to work. Victory throw. McMeekin with the ball. Wainwright just to relieve the pressure, but almost playing like a bit of a sweeper is Kayla Morrison at the back. Absolutely no pressure. She can just pull the passes where she likes. Janchevsky centrally to Lowe, who tries to turn. Gets a little bit of contact. Waved away by the referee. Not enough there, so Johnston can drive forward. Looking for the counter, but just not enough numbers forward. 2 shots on target for the home side Victory. The visitors, Perth, yet to find a shot on target in this opening 30 minutes almost.
Yeah, I think Stephen Peters will be a little bit frustrated. They had nice little passage of build-up play there. Victory had kind of half stepped on. They weren't doing a full press. And then just a poor pass and they give away possession. That's happened a couple of times. Especially like at times when you're under pressure, it's things like that that can really bring in the levels of frustration for both the players and the coach. Melbourne Victory comfortable in possession in their own half, not put under too much pressure. So super important for Perth Glory. And they do have that opportunity to string a few passes together, that the quality is there as well.
So we've ticked past the 30-minute mark. Melbourne Victory with the lead thanks to a Kennedy White finish in the 21st minute, her 5th of the season. And this next 15 minutes just happens to be Melbourne Victory's most prosperous. They've scored almost 60% of their goals in this little passage before half-time, so Perth Glory should be on red alert. Pickett finds McMeekin. Second assist of the season for Zoe McMeekin. McKenna facing forward. Here's Johnston. Looking to put Holler to work. Pickett defended well. Good use of the body.
I think it's some of those decisions, isolated, a run down into that corridor, away from goal. I think I prefer the option to actually come back in, switch the play where you've got more players. I mean, they're down on the possession percentages. Melbourne Victory, all the possession, nearly 70%. So something that I think Stephen Peters will need to address at half-time. Small amounts of time where they do have possession. What are they actually doing with it?
Well, that ball has just edged its way out over the sideline. So Carlos will go back to take the throw-in for Victory. Perhaps hand over duties to Janchevsky. He's low. Intercepted by Ponsong Cam. McKenna wide to Johnston again. Successful passes, well, 3 times as many almost the way of Melbourne Victory. Case in point. Centering ball is into a really tricky spot. And it's Pollicina who's charging down. A couple of Perth defenders sticking close by.
There's a lovely curling ball towards that far post, especially in these conditions. Just skidded off Pollicina, just a little bit too high for her to get anything on it. But again, it's those turnovers of possession for Perth, which are making it even more challenging at the moment.
Grace Johnston looks to have copped a bit of contact to the head and is getting some attention from the physio. A quick discussion between Gabby Holler on the sideline. I think the trailing right elbow of Pollicina, nothing meant by that whatsoever, but just caught at a bit of a sore spot for Johnston, who's been really busy in this opening 30 minutes or so. A bit of discussion happening on the sideline for Stephen Peters, who really needs to turn these results around. 3 consecutive losses, those 3 conceding 9 goals. Unable to find the back of the net at all in the last 2 fixtures. Of course, Perth still missing the likes of Megan Wynn returning from the ACL, Nat Tatham the same injury. Captain Izzy Dalton out with a knee injury herself. Teresa Morrissey still to return. Ella Abdul-Masi.
Yeah, that's a fair bit of depth right there, isn't it? No, such a challenge keeping everyone fit and healthy and on the park, especially with the amount of travel that Perth Glory have to do. We can't discount the impact that has on the players week in, week out.
I mentioned off the top as well, Ematova unavailable today for Perth. Hasn't travelled with the squad, picked up a little knock. For victory too, though, missing a couple of key players as Perth just look to find a way out of what is a relatively high victory line. Chelsea Blissett still yet to return for victory, has been dealing with a back injury. Sienna Silvesca still unavailable. Nikki Flannery not too far away on return from a hamstring injury. And Bunge, international duty. Poppy O'Keefe, young Matilda duty. So the injury ward is there.
Yeah, so early on in the season as well, which makes it challenging. We're only into round 5.
Firth chased down really well. Good tenacity and the centering ball. Well, that is a lovely finish for Melbourne victory. A flash in the pan and a really important second goal for the home side. Well worked by Holly Furphy. Victory have extended their lead.
McKenna trying to play that ball out. Furphy staying with the pressure. Continue on, nice little deflection. She got a little bit of luck there, had a look up into the centre, kept the ball down, and wonderful, easy tap in for Sakalis, heading to the top of the net.
Well, her first of the season, Sophia Sakalis, against her former side, no less.
Yeah, big questions now for Perth Glory. They haven't spent a lot of time in victory's half. Been struggling to play out, struggling to maintain possession.
McKenna wanting to make amends. Badawia looking to get involved. Little tug of the shirt, little nibble. And the free kick does go the way of the home side. During that break, little conversations happening on the sideline. Holler chatting to the assistant coach and just trying to understand positioning at the top. Rolla Badawia and Gabby Holler interchanging, but not having much joy in the final third for Perth Glory. Needing a little bit more clarity. Pickett will chase. Here's Newbon.
Yeah, it's definitely tough for Holler and Badawia up front when you're trying to, you want to get on the ball, you want to get possession, but trying to work out the best way to do that. I think Perth Glory have played a lot of straight balls down into those wide areas, which I don't think are probably the best option. Players running away from goal, bit isolated as well. I feel like they probably need to get a little bit closer and start connecting a few more passes before trying to play a longer ball forward.
Is White, the goal scorer, nudged by McKenna. Another chance for victory, and Furphy goes to ground. Zog, who's been relatively quiet in this opening half, has done just enough.
Yeah, Furphy was originally unmarked there, but Chinamar came in pretty quickly with Zog as well to stifle the attack. I mean, that's probably the third or fourth time from defensive positions where Perth Glory players have just played the ball straight out. That's really not helping the situation. At a time like this, you're 2 goals down, you've conceded so many in the last few games. It's the little things like that, especially when they keep repeating as well, that get really frustrating. It's hard to actually build on any type of attack if you're giving back possession so easily.
Well, they're points that Stephen Peters will certainly need to address at the half-time break, which is edging ever closer. 2-0 the lead to Melbourne victory. Pollicina looking to try and add a third and release Furphy, but McKenna is there. Johnston down the line to Badawia. Hurried back by McMeekin. Chinema. Wide to Sardo. Down the line, looking for Ella Lincoln, but Morrison can manage that one pretty comfortably. Janchevsky's done well. Here's Sakalis, scorer of the second goal. Little nudge in the back, free kick victory.
I mean, that's a bit of a shame that Lincoln gave away that free kick, but just in one passage of play, when Perth Glory actually switch the point of attack and go out the other side, they can actually advance into the Melbourne victory half, something that they haven't been able to do a lot up until now. So if it's working, if the space is on the other side, then you need to continue trying to switch that point of attack.
And has done well on that occasion, just held off Furphy just enough to wait for a little bit of support. McMeekin with the throw. Zog interrupts, and again Perth try and find a way out of trouble. Here's Holler, keeps it in just, and Grace Maher, who's just marshalling that midfield, has the ability to drop into that central defensive role here on the ball. Grace Maher, of course, joining from Western United this season, returning to Melbourne victory. 26-year-old, a real leader in the side, a utility for Jeff Hopkins. Now Sakalis puts the head down, nudges the ball inside. Pollicina will shoot! Oh, well, the deflection is cruel to Alyssa Dallastay, but that's what Rihanna Pollicina is oh so capable of doing. Shoot on sight, and shoot she does. Melbourne victory, they've got 3.
Wonderful ball in from Sakalis, came inside, spotted the runner Pollicina. She's always going to have a strike there. Dallastay would have had that covered. A slight deflection, just taking it out of reach of Dallastay. And from what we knew Perth Glory had to do in this first half, it's all unravelling before their eyes.
Pollicina adds a 3rd for her season and a 3rd for the afternoon inside the first half. It's a tough ask and a steep climb for Perth Glory from here. That ball over the top, putting Sardo to work. First time cross, dealt with comfortably. Pollicina, that pass easily read by Chinema. And if Stephen Peters wanted to stem the bleeding, it's been a very, very difficult afternoon.
And the big question is now, okay, you get into half-time, we've conceded 3 goals, 3 different goals from different areas as well. All right, what's your approach in the second half? Obviously, to try not to concede anymore, but you have to start going for it. I think they need to have a little rethink about when they do have possession, what they want to do with it. I'm not sure trying to do the build-up play is going to be as effective for them in the second half, so it'll be interesting to see how they address that at half-time.
Well, it's that little 15-minute window we were speaking about for Melbourne victory, from the half-hour mark to half-time. And here's a little look for another White. Can't quite arrive, and Dallastay puts on just enough pressure. Melbourne victory, more than any other team in the A-League this season, have scored 6 goals in that 15-minute window from the 30-minute mark to half-time. Finished strong, and this is going to be a big half-time talk from Stephen Peters. Badawia slips. Pollicina looking down the line, only finds the assistant referee. Badawia again to ground. Slippery surface out there The seconds tick away to that 45-minute mark. Perth had conceded 9 in their last 3. We'll add another 3 to that today. It's a really difficult task. 3 minutes of stoppage time added at the end of this first half. All to do in this second 45, but still action coming here for Victory. Johnston covers. Little nod on by Wainwright. Still with Victory. Pollicina looks to help forward. Wainwright over the top to Badawia. Just no real options forward for this Perth team at the moment.
It's a couple of times Badawia just trying to turn back into feet. I think if I was Stephen Peters just looking at this, I might even just say, hold up, stay as far up near Kayla Morrison as possible. When we get the ball, let's try and see if we can be a bit more direct and if that brings us any joy, because every time they get the ball, they slow the tempo down. They're trying to do some combination play, keep possession, but it's just not working. The pace of it isn't fast enough. Melbourne Victory are well set up. They're well set up and organised defensively.
McKenna can take the space. Johnston. Badawia looking in behind. Johnston obliges. Here's Badawia. Her cross skips off the floor. Tricky to defend in these conditions. McKenna loses a shin guard. Centering pass to Ponsong Cam is good, and Ponsong Cam can hit them from that kind of distance. The 2 number 10s going into battle. That's a great challenge from Susan Ponsong Cam. So 2 minutes of the allotted 3 have ticked by. Jeff Hopkins surely will be pleased with this response off the back of the loss to the Wellington Phoenix last week. And he said throughout the week, when we score first, we win.
Yeah, and they're proving that time after time as well. I think it's good. They've had a variety of goals in this game, so they know they've got different goal scorers, they've got different options for where they can score, and that's what all the most successful teams have. They don't just rely on 1 or 2 players to score their goals. Big question is, what are Perth Glory going to do? And I think it's a real challenge. You know, you try and set up, absolutely, surely like it would have been about not conceding. And you've conceded 3 in the first half, and you just think, right, what's our way back into this game?
That's a big question, and for Perth, they will hope that Stephen Peters has the answer at half-time, because the half-time whistle does ring out at the home of the Matildas, and it's Melbourne Victory who have taken the home ground advantage in a very big way. Kennedy White getting scoring underway for her 5th of the season. That one followed by Sophia Sakalis in a really nice move from the Victory, and a 3rd goal to see out the first half from none other than Rihanna Pollicina. But it has been a first half comfortably managed by the home side. Plenty of action to come. Half-time at Bundoora. It's Melbourne Victory 3, Perth Glory 0. Well, there was plenty to talk about in that first 45 minutes, Ish. Plenty of action, plenty of goals that got us underway.
That's right, McBeacon here, just keeping the play alive. Lovely ball back across the face of goal between that 6-yard box and penalty spot. And Kennedy White on hand just to tuck it into the top corner. She had to come back and away, but maintained her composure. A lovely strike.
And this is the second almost of the afternoon. Wasn't to be for Perth, but what a response that would have been.
Yeah, just would have changed the momentum of the game as well, Grace. Just so unlucky. Badawia, really tight angle. Ella Lincoln not being able to finish it at the far post. And at 1-1, that really could have changed momentum.
And this just pure tenacity from Holly Furphy and the arriving Sophia Sakalis in a really well-taken finish.
I've been really impressed. Holly Furphy's had a great first half. She's been dropping deep to pick up the ball, drifting from the right side to the left side, and just with her resilience and tenacity there, able to get the ball back to Sakalis.
A little deflection on this, one worth celebrating for Pollicina, but tricky for Dallas Day to deal with.
And lovely, Sakalis coming inside, cutting in into the run of Pollicina. We know she can strike the ball, and got a little bit of luck to take it away from Dallas Day.
So these are the half-time match stats we're looking at, and just look at the total shots there in comparison to Perth Glory, how much Melbourne Victory is producing in that final third.
The stats tell the story. It's been all one-way traffic with Melbourne Victory, so big question marks over what Perth Glory are going to do to try and inject themselves into this game in the next 45 minutes.
Welcome back to the home of the Matildas, where it is the home of Melbourne Victory, and they are well and truly taking control of this one. 3 goals in the first half, a dominant first 45 minutes. There's Nikki Flannery, another player to return to the Melbourne Victory side, and plenty to look forward to in this second 45 minutes. But for Victory's Chelsea Blissett, the jump into professional football was anything but smooth. She left her family in Albury to debut with Melbourne City at just 19 years old, and under the pressure to perform while juggling part-time work alongside full-time football, she developed an eating disorder. Now 25, she's in a far better place, embracing her role as an advocate to help young girls coming through the game. She enjoys this role and so much more in her life. Let's hear a little bit more.
What I love about matcha lattes is I just love the taste. I actually just love like the way that you make them. I also love making them for my friends and just like the ceremony of like getting all together and drinking them. It's just something a little bit different to coffee. And I generally drink them in the morning before training just to kind of give me a bit of a long-lasting energy, but I'll probably mix it up between that and coffee. I love talking about mental health because I went through my own mental health struggles when I was younger. I've come out and spoken about my battle with my eating disorder and how I overcame that, and how I want to use my platform to promote mental health in sport, and also just promoting a safer space to talk about eating disorders, especially in younger girls, as it's very prevalent in all sport. It allows me to kind of everything that I went through, hopefully be able to prevent or give someone else the courage to come and speak out about it as well. After doing a couple of ACLs, I have found that time in the gym has been really helpful for me. It allows you to get stronger as an athlete, prevent injuries, but also allows you to come back stronger, and it's just something nice that you get to do while you're not able to be on the football field. Football means everything to me. It is obviously like our life. We're so blessed to be able to get to do this as a job, and honestly, yeah, some days don't feel very fulfilled if I'm not out there training or kicking the ball around the field, so it's really hard when you're injured, but I not only love kicking the ball around the field, but it's the people that you get to do it and share it with as well that make it a lot more wholesome. I enjoy yapping to anyone who will listen to me. Sometimes my friends won't, but I love talking about just sort of food and cooking. I love talking about books. I'm really big into romance novels, so anyone who I can talk to about a book, I will literally sit them down and talk to them about it for hours. I just wanted to start a sports bra business because I have really noticed that within the sort of professional space, even still, that there is certain aspects of our female sportswear that is kind of still tailored a little bit towards men and not completely tailored towards us. So I wanted to start a sports bra business that also allowed us to have a GPS pouch in the back. Therefore, we're not having to wear multiple layers, especially because if we have a GPS bra, we have to wear our normal bras, then the GPS bras over the top, and they're normally made for men, a bit oversized, very flimsy, not supportive. So over all of my years of playing professional football, I always thought, why not let's make a bra that has our normal bra but just has a little bit of a sleeve. And then at the start of the year, I decided to say screw it and do it myself. So I'm really excited to see how it goes. And yeah, it does help with mental health, something outside of football too.
Well, she's a real inspiration, Chelsea Blissett. Great to see her back fit and working her way back into this Melbourne Victory side. She has been sidelined so far this season with a back injury and hopes to be back to full fitness soon. Well, on Friday, the first of two internationals was played between Australia and New Zealand in preparation for the upcoming Women's Asian Cup. And this is how it played out at Gosford's Polytech Stadium. Well, it was a start, and a good start for the Matildas, Ish, and the goal scoring that got underway early on from Amy Sayer really set the tone for the evening that we saw.
Yeah, it wasn't just the goals, it was all the build-up play as well, Grace, that was really entertaining to watch. There was this beautiful fluidity of movement within the team around midfield. Emily Van Egmond playing in a really nice free role, seeing Kyra Cooney-Cross go forward. I mean, look where Ellie Carpenter is. She's on the edge of the 18-yard box, and she found herself there quite a few times, and she did say post-match that Joe Montemuro said, look, get forward. You know, if anyone can get back by getting forward, it's Ellie Carpenter.
Well, how about this one from Kyra Cooney-Cross? Yeah, seriously good finish, and this one is just such a joy to watch.
I mean, Kyra Cooney-Cross is just a wonderful talent, isn't she? I just feel like she's got everything. She's got a bit of the tenacity. She's got these silky skills. She scored one like that against Germany as well. Just that beautiful vision and confidence to take it.
Well, it was a really special result in front of a packed-out Polytech Stadium. The second match between Australia and New Zealand is on Tuesday, the 2nd of December at Coopers Stadium. But here's what we've got coming up for round 6 of the Ninja A-League. Melbourne Victory next week. They host Canberra United back at home here again at the home of the Matildas on Friday evening. Friday football under lights we all love. And then on Saturday, it's the Central Coast Mariners up against Newcastle Jets in an F3 derby, which will be always a good encounter up at the coast. Melbourne City up against the Wellington Phoenix. Phoenix on the road into Melbourne. That'll be a tough one as well. And to Adelaide United playing host to Brisbane Roar on Sunday. Rounding out round 6 is the Western Sydney Wanderers up against Sydney FC on Sunday afternoon. Well, don't go anywhere. Plenty of football coming up on the other side. We'll be back with the second half in just a short moment. Well, work to do in Bundoora, work to do for Perth Glory indeed. Melbourne Victory flying, really comfortable in that first 45 minutes. And welcome back to a soggy home of the Matildas. Ella Lincoln, Grace Johnston exchanging words after what has to have been a big half-time chat from the visiting team. Really tough run of defeats for Perth Glory, and that first 45 minutes surely did not instill too much confidence in the side. Victory, on the other hand, looked to be cruising. Perth with the kickoff in the second half as we look to get things underway. And interesting to see what changes, if any, so far. Looks like all personnel is the same. But what formation, what tactics might we see into this second half, Ish, as Perth Glory have an almighty challenge ahead of them.
Well, I think in even just that example we saw there, I do think Perth Glory need to start being a little bit more direct. Every time they try and play the ball into feet further forward with one of their players facing backwards, they're losing possession, so they have to try and change things. Maybe it is playing a bit more direct, turning the Melbourne Victory defence around, facing back their own goal and squeezing them on and pressing them from there.
Well, Furphy's centering cross is fairly comfortably dealt with by Dallas State, who can roll out to Ponsong Cam and Wainwright. No substitutes at the half-time break, so perhaps just a few more minutes to test out whatever was spoken about at the break. Badawia hurried back by Janchevsky, and a little toe from Kennedy White can't disrupt the pass enough. Is Zog.
No, they got away with that one there, Grace. Badawia, again, back to goal. Pressure from behind from Melbourne Victory. They were able to switch it out, switch the point of attack. But they just haven't been having much success of keeping possession when they do play those balls into one of their teammates with their back-facing goal.
Nice touch by Sado, but Badawia can't shake off the physicality of Morrison. She's been largely untested at the back.
I just think also it makes it really easy for Melbourne Victory if they know that they're always going to, Perth Glory are always going to be playing the ball in front of you. So much easier stepping onto the ball rather than having to turn back and facing towards your own goal.
It's brought down nicely by Ella Lincoln, her first start in the Ninja A-League. Furphy can't quite keep that one in. If you're just joining us, it was a dominant first 45 minutes from Melbourne Victory. Kennedy White getting scoring underway. Sophia Sakalis joining the ranks. And Rihanna Pollicina as well to round out the 3 goals that we saw in the first half. A little shout for offside, and indeed the flag goes up for the assistant referee.
That was better play, nice and positive from Naomi Chinema, actually bringing the ball out with a little bit of intensity, trying to up the tempo. First time ball into Badawia, just drifting offside, but that's a more positive sign. I would like to see Naomi Chinema, if she does have that space in front of her, then just drive into it. Try and break a line yourself.
Well, Furphy's fast. McKenna uses her body well. Sister Letitia in the stands today watching. A few of the Melbourne City girls down to support their cross-city rivals, or maybe just keep a close eye on things. Body's bundled to the ground.
Foul ended up going against Ella Lincoln. She was just sandwiched between Pickett and McMeekin.
Is Morrison. Turned by Ma, which was nice. Down the line, and Sakalis will chase. Chinema trying to see this one out and nudges it over in the end off her own boot. Victory throw. Still plenty of umbrellas out as the rain falls. That's a nice turn. White nudges inside, shouts for a handball. Reasonable question to be asked. Here's Badawia. Referee Michaela Ryan waves it away. Play goes on. McMeekin anticipated well.
McMeekin did really well just stepping in front, just reading that play again. Every time that ball's played in front, the Melbourne Victory defence are just doing so well at reading it.
Lowe just tidies up in midfield. Down the line to Furphy, who was very active in that first half. Her ball through is pushed a little too hard.
It was definitely ball to hand. It was a little deflection off Sakalis, it looked like. No intent there. What do you think, Grace? I mean, her hand was outside her body. Was it a natural position? It was pretty far away from her body, though.
Well, of course, no VAR in the Ninja A-League, and intent not a determining factor when talking about a handball.
It was pretty obvious that there was a handball, though, but...
Maybe Wainwright a little lucky to get away on that occasion. Perth need to take these moments when given to them.
Yeah, there are those moments as well. 1-0 down in that first half. Badawia just clipping the inside of the post. And Ellen Lincoln.
Furphy, her centering pass, and Dallas State does make the save. Spinning ball under slippery conditions.
Another great run by Furphy. It's a tight angle there. I think a better option to be whipping it across that 6-yard box. Kennedy White was in there as well. Sakalis coming in from the far post.
It's a nice turn. As Ella Lincoln is brought to ground by Pickett. McKenna to take. Ponsonkan turns and switches the point of play. Here's Chinema. Now Sato. Inside to Wainwright. Victory starting to think about a pinch in. Nice pass. Can split that first line of defence. Ponsonkan releases Johnston. Lincoln's running forward. Johnston back inside to Ponsonkan, and again, just traversing up the field they go. Perth Glory edging forward. Chinema wide to Sato. Sato's cross has to be good to the far post. Meakin's there. Pollicina just edges it away. This is a good little passage from the Glory. Johnston. Lincoln now. Pickett's across. Lincoln doesn't quite get the measure right.
That was much better play from Perth Glory, and it just proves again, every time they're able to switch the point of attack and go out the other side, they're able to, one, retain possession and progress the ball further up the field. A couple of good opportunities, crosses into the box, they traverse the width of the field 2 or 3 times then, and that's what we want to see more of, and they have to keep that tempo and intensity up when they're doing that.
Furphy again. The right-hand side. Centering ball, and Dallas State just watches it bounce past. Lowe's arriving, cuts back in. Nice little move by Rachel Lowe. Can she get the pass to match? Underneath is Sakalis. Centering pass, and Furphy's facing backwards, turns, gets a strike away. It's a good save by Dallas State. Time almost stood still there as Holly Furphy could turn, face and get a shot away.
Lovely composed play here. Rachel Lowe turning back out. Sakalis just finding Furphy. Great awareness. She had a little look over her shoulder just to be able to turn and get her shot away.
Well, Chinema closed the space really well. Had to be there. But tidy touches from Furphy. You can see the rain just streaming down. A real chill in the air. Janchevsky on the left boot, the in-swinger. The corner a little short, bouncing, not quite dealt with until it is prodded away by McKenna. Sakalis across. Now Lowe. Back through Ma, who looks to help on. Sato's there. Former teammate Sato, Grace Ma, Western United. Lowe looking for the give and go, but just creates a bit of space. So you wonder which coach will be first to turn to their bench just to make some changes.
Just noticing how far out Naomi Chinema is down this left-hand side with Sakalis.
Another throw the way of Melbourne Victory. Side is well done, and the centering cross is looking, searching, finding no one in particular from Kennedy White.
I mean, it's definitely worth an effort in these conditions, potentially skidding off the surface as the rain continues to team down. Pitch does seem quite heavy. Ball's not really travelling at a great speed.
Perth persisting with finding a way out from the back, and they've almost done so on this occasion. A little nudge in the back from Ma.
That was well held up by Holler, but again, everything's just in front of this Melbourne Victory defence. They're staying nice and tight. They're putting pressure on them when they've got their back to a goal.
Hopkins looking along. He'll want more from his side. There's been just a little drop in intensity in the last few minutes.
It's that challenging mindset where you're 3 goals up. Do you want to continue going? Do you want to be ruthless? We saw it with the Matildas on Friday night.
It's a nice clearing header from Morrison. Chinema is advanced, cuts onto her left, looks for a shot, and it may well go down as a shot on target. Didn't bother Courtney Newbon whatsoever.
Perth also looked to be pressing a little bit further up the pitch as well, not kind of dropping into that mid-block around the centre circle. Really important that they actually start putting Victory under pressure in their own half. It's all been very, very comfortable. Kayla Morrison, I think, hasn't really got out of a jog for most of this. Never really put under pressure when she does have the ball at her feet.
Cruise control at the back for Kayla Morrison. Zog is across to cover Sakalis.
I mean, there's plenty of time for Perth Glory to actually also know what the Victory are trying to do. There's so much time for the Victory to make their decisions, but the pressure that Perth Glory are putting them under just isn't enough.
A little bit of step about this move. Chevsky can't quite get the return pass. Low can, though. Sakalis. Perth just standing off. 15 shots the way of Melbourne Victory, just the 3 for Perth Glory. But those on target, significantly less.
Yeah, interesting decision, Holly Furphy having a foul against her. I mean, there was contact on both sides there, I think. Surprised by that one.
Right, come stand up here with me. Girls, come stand up here.
Well, a little look forward for Perth. And that throw will go the way of the home side as we tip closer and closer to that 60-minute mark, and we will see the first change of the afternoon. Charlie Wainwright making way. And it's a welcome return to Georgia Cassidy, who's been injured. This is her first appearance of this season. And to Bronte True, the other player, standing ready on the sideline, will replace the number 9 in Gabby Holler. So Cassidy, a really creative midfielder, True, a lively attacking player. It's an intent from Stephen Peters.
Absolutely, Grace. It's exactly what they need. They need a little bit more spark. I think it was a tough day for Gabby Holler. You know, not having a lot of possession, not being able to keep a lot of possession when she did have her back to goal.
Nicely picked up by the substitute. Releases Lincoln, gets a good strike away, Pickett's across to cover. Well, that's good impact. That's good energy shown by the number 8, Georgia Cassidy, returning from a hamstring injury that's kept her sidelined, and she's been really missed in this Perth midfield. Here's Furphy, still full of running. Goes down by Punson Cam. Pushes it past, but Zog is there. A little pull of the shirt, and she won't get away with that one. A wry smile to follow as well. Perth play quickly. Johnston to Badawia. McMeekin for company. Badawia looks inside. Johnston now. Badawia with McMeekin to beat. Great use of the body, Zoe McMeekin. And had that one gone over the line, it had indeed. Corner for Perth.
Yeah, unfortunate for Zoe McMeekin. She's had a really good game, I think, today as well. That ball into Kennedy White, the Melbourne Victory goal. She's been stepping in front. She's been reading the play up and down that right-hand side.
First corner of the afternoon, 60 minutes on the clock. Georgia Cassidy, the sub off the bench. the in-swinger. What can Cassidy deliver? Perth need a response. It's a good delivery. And it had Courtney Newbon worried.
We were trying to see it as well, Grace. It just like that in-swinger, everyone kind of cleared out. They probably read the flow of the ball much better than we could from our position. But I do feel like that's another missed opportunity for Perth Glory. I think you have to put the goalkeeper under pressure there. You're 3 goals down. Things like set pieces really tend to matter, and trying to get it into a more dangerous area is so crucial.
Well, few and far between those moments for Perth this afternoon. It looked good off the boot, I will say that much. But my eyes misled me into the side netting. Georgia Cassidy just getting the dial in. McKenna can take the space. 6 shots on target for Melbourne victory. 3 of those found the back of the net. Just the 1 shot on target for Perth. That's better from the Glory. Better ball speed. Cassidy. No pass, a little skinny. McMeekin again to cover. So we've ticked past the 60-minute mark, and it's been Stephen Peters the first to turn to his bench. 2 attacking subs made. You wonder what changes Jeff Hopkins might look to bring in the next little while.
Like we were talking about before, Grace, where it's just the intensity drops off a little bit. You know, you come into the second half, you're 3 goals up, you kind of get in a comfortable position, aren't you? They're not really causing too many problems. You probably can't see where they would cause problems. You feel like you're in a pretty comfortable state, so you do have a tendency just to try and conserve some energy, make sure that you're just keeping possession, actually forcing Perth into making a decision exactly like they're doing here. Kayla Morrison, there's no rush whatsoever to go forward. Just making sure that you keep nice, tidy possession.
Well, now they can go. Here's White. The tall forward has stretched out to the right-hand side. McMeekin cuts in on her left, and that's a clever run by Rachel Lowe, and a really quality save from Alyssa Daloste.
What a ball in by McMeekin on that left-hand side. It was a bit of slow build-up play, just waiting for that opportunity to get the ball into wide areas. McMeekin just curling it towards that 6-yard area. Rachel Lowe read it beautifully on the half volley as well. That was definitely going into the top of the net. Daloste, a wonderful save.
Well, big moment for Daloste, that. Rachel Lowe, clever in front of goal, good movement. And this now an in-swinger from Alana Janchevsky. Perth need to be defensively sound. Zonal defence. Janchevsky's delivery's a little short, bouncing, tricky through traffic. Here's Cassidy. To Sardo. Those 2 players combining once more. Down the line to True, the substitute.
Just scuffed that corner, didn't quite get a good connection on it, didn't beat the first line of defence with Perth Glory. And that possession stat has pretty much been very similar for the whole game. Perth Glory not seeing a lot of the ball, and unfortunately when they have, probably been turning possession back over far too easily.
Newbon well off her line. Victory subs warming up. It's Taylor Ray. First time sighted this season. Total passes, again, matching the eye test. Victory managing this situation. There is Taylor Ray, 24-year-old. The championship winning player with Central Coast Mariners. Getting a little chat to from Melissa Maisels.
interested to see where Jeff uses Taylor Ray. We saw her almost repurposed into a centre-back for Central Coast Mariners, where she had huge impact in what was a great season under Emily Husband.
A tired pass from Rachel Lowe, perhaps. Sato just looks for a bit of support. Finds it in the way of Cassidy. Zog happy to retreat a little through Dallas Day.
Jeff Hopkins really willing his team, I think. Probably trying to get the energy levels up a little bit.
He's Low. Can build again for victory. Sakalis back to Low. Sakalis again. Has Janchevsky. True hurries the option, and Janchevsky's cross is blocked by Ponsonkamp. So the game somewhat meandering at this point. Intensity just dipping. A couple of tired passes out there. We've seen 2 changes so far for Perth Glory. None at this stage for Jeff Hopkins' side. Corner taken short. Janchevsky on the left boot. Little clip up and under. Lands on the top of the net.
Yeah, I think that also just highlights a little bit more of the meandering race when you're 3-0 up and you really don't feel like you're under that much pressure. The intensity level has dropped massively. And really, for Melbourne Victory, there's no reason for them to up it again. They're in a really comfortable place. I know Jeff Hopkins wants them to win it back, doesn't he? Of course, he wants that intensity to win it back. When you're out there sometimes as a player, you're like, well, you know, we're pretty comfortable here. And it has, and Perth Glory really haven't come up with any solutions. I haven't seen anything too different from the first half tactically for them to try to displace Melbourne Victory. It's all been much of the same, which has meant it's been super comfortable for the Victory.
Sakalis, her pass inside is interrupted, and Bronte True can find Badawia. Good positive first touch by Badawia. The touch around Morrison. What a recovery that is from Kayla Morrison. Beaten once, not twice, as Badawia is clutching onto her captain's armband in the left hand.
It's tough, isn't it? I mean, Kayla Morrison, that's probably the first time I've seen her get out of 2nd or 3rd gear as she needs to, but Badawia very, very isolated, trying to do it all herself, trying to look for something different. But Janchevsky and Kayla Morrison are pretty comfortable.
Here's Chinema. Poked out to Sato. Needs some more movement, Chinema. Sato. Looking for True. Good use of the body by Janchevsky. Now back with Chinema. And again, just needs a simple option to play forward. Zog's ball is glanced on as Ma goes to ground through the challenge of Bronte True.
There was a couple of times when the ball came into these wide areas. True was kind of on this right-hand side, but there weren't too many options to try and get a ball into the box. Obviously, maybe trying to get into a different position further down the right-hand side for a cutback. Well, I think, you know, the ideas have been running out for the Perth Glory. They haven't really tried too many different things. Like, I understand they're trying to switch that point of attack and really try and drag Melbourne Victory out of position. But as far as penetration going forward is concerned, there just hasn't been a lot of that today.
A little slip by McMeekin. Hasn't done much wrong this afternoon. Here's Lincoln. Has numbers centrally if she can find him. Johnston. Perth with A little rare foray forward. 20 minutes to play. Rain still coming down. Really cool conditions. Victory haven't been able to quite put the heat on in this second half. White isolated in that ball over the top. Maybe something here, Badawia. Janchevsky, good anticipation. Now Ma. Hopkins will want more from his side in this second half. Here's Rachel Lowe, centering pass, looks early, and it's really, really good from Rachel Lowe. Kennedy White should have made that 4 for victory.
That was a lovely ball in from Rachel Lowe. Had a quick look up outside of the foot, didn't try and put too much on it. Kennedy White just trying to guide it into the far post, and Dallas Day able to get a pretty comfortable save in the end.
Well, a very welcome return to the A-League to Taylor Ray, who's had to bide her time on the sideline injured. Off comes Grace Ma in a good, comfortable shift. And Taylor Ray, the 24-year-old, well, she knows how to lift a trophy. Has done so at Sydney FC, the Central Coast Mariners. But now in the navy blue, set to make waves for victory. Ella Lincoln also making way. Misha Anderson, her replacement.
Yeah, pretty frustrating day for Ella Lincoln as well. Always been a bit of a battle. Hasn't really had too much effective possession, but I think that's just really been the story of Perth Glory from the start of the match.
Inside the last 20 minutes. Changes now starting to ring in. Carlos has done well. Keeps this play alive, and Furphy. Janchevsky getting forward. Delightful left boot. Finds the far post of Pollicina. She likes it, but just couldn't do a little bit more.
That was some lovely build-up play. Bringing the ball out left from right to left. Janchevsky continuing a run down that left-hand side.
This is a little concerning for Holly Furphy. Doesn't look particularly comfortable. It's just gone to ground and maybe grabbing at that left calf. It didn't look to be anything apparent in that last passage of play. Maybe a little innocuous one.
Maybe also heavy pitch, could be potentially a calf cramp. It's definitely been noticeable that maybe having a little look at the knee there as well.
Conversation between Hopkins and Rachel Lowe.
It's probably a good opportunity not to take the risk either, right? You're 3-0 up. Holly Furphy, I think, has played really well in this game. She's up on her feet, but...
Here's the next 5 for Melbourne victory. As we saw that Friday night home game against Canberra United. String of home games then, Adelaide, and then 3 on the trot. But for now, Perth have a bit of defending to do. Janchevsky with the signal on the in-swinger. Janchevsky, near post, nodded away. And that will steer out. No, in fact, it'll stay right in on the line. Janchevsky will get another chance. What can she fashion? Ricochets off Anderson. Perth do just enough, but only for half a moment. A big up and under kick. A bouncing ball to Pollicina and a Melbourne victory throw. In no hurry here, Melbourne victory. All the way back to Newbon.
Courtney Newbon could just hold that ball for as long as possible, couldn't she?
She can, until Perth apply the pressure. And speaking of pressure, next 5 games for the Glory. A bye first up, and then home to the Wellington Phoenix. home again to Adelaide United. Really important fixtures back at home without the travel. Tough game away against City, and then a couple more home games. So what you'd say is a positive string of not having to travel, the long flight over Perth Glory, needing to really respond in this remaining 15 minutes and then look at that schedule and these matches to come.
Yeah, they started the season well at home, so they need to build on that because their string of away games have been a real struggle for them.
So Holly Furphy did return to the field of play and looks to be moving okay, but she will make way after that little moment as Ella O'Grady will appear for just the second time this season. The 20-year-old Ella O'Grady. That's been a really well-worked afternoon for Furphy.
Yeah, I've been really impressed with her this afternoon. Just I love to see her drifting into those different positions. She was also coming back to do her defensive duties, to receive the ball. Fantastic work rate. And had a really good game.
For O'Grady, her third season at Melbourne Victory, most of her appearances for the club off the bench, very few starts. Looks to be that impact player, provide a bit of speed. And at 3-0 down, the last thing Perth Glory will want at the moment, fresh legs running at them. That right quad heavily strapped does O'Grady. And one of the first things she'll have to do is defend a corner. Here's Cassidy. The last corner, a little skinny, this one. Can she find the sweet spot? Cassidy's in swinger. Well, that's seriously good. And it had Courtney Newbon really concerned. Couldn't get a good grab at it. Had some good speed about the delivery as well.
We talked about the original one being quite skinny. I thought it may have been more of the same, but forcing Courtney Newbon into a save. Thought that was maybe going to sneak in under the crossbar. That was a much better delivery.
Well, from the other side again, Georgia Cassidy. The left boot, a little slower on the delivery, but still into a dangerous area. Cam can chase down for Glory. The ball threaded back out to Cassidy, who can stretch the legs, and a little conversation about which way it's going to go.
I thought it was going to be a goal kick, actually. It looked like there's a final little deflection, but the assistant referee decided that it was a corner, so I need another good delivery from Cassidy. It would be great for Glory to pinch a goal back here. I not necessarily think that they've deserved it, but might just give them a little bit more confidence.
Cassidy goes short. Cam now into the mix-up. Pollicina. Anderson back with Cassidy. Probably where you want it. Cassidy, good delivery. A little sustained period here, and Cassidy will keep possession for her side. Perth throwing.
Some good deliveries in by Cassidy, but I don't really see Kayla Morrison was pretty comfortable there, clearing both of those crosses out.
Showing a bit of promise on some of those balls into a dangerous area. Good shape on the whipped cross.
Yeah, good shape, good pace on it, but you do need people making those runs in front of the Victory defenders, and haven't really seen any of that from Perth Glory. Anyone trying to desperately get in front, which has made it pretty comfortable.
Well, a string of corners here for Perth Glory. What can they produce? It's Cassidy again, and again it's quality. Falls to the far post. O'Grady, there's that speed, tumbles down. She wins the free kick. Chinema deemed to have brought her to ground.
A tackle that needed to be made. Ella O'Grady off. Nearly got a touch on that ball.
So after a sustained period for Perth, now they've got some defending to do. Here's Sakalis. A good centering ball, and again, a chance at the near post. Anderson is on the scene. Kennedy White is taken to ground. But Sakalis has looked dangerous down that left-hand side this afternoon.
What a ball from Kayla Morrison. She just got her head up, saw that space on that left-hand side. Sakalis was off, trying to play the ball into the near post to Kennedy White's run.
Another change for Perth Glory as Tian McKenna makes way. She's had a busy afternoon, called into action plenty of times. And it's an A-League debut for Clancy Westaway, wearing the number 28, a Victorian but playing in a Perth Glory shirt. And a highly regarded young midfielder, former junior Matilda, Iskia Brookin as well, onto the field for her second appearance, the 17-year-old. So a couple of youngsters thrown into the mix. And that's Stephen Peters emptying his bench, all with the exception of the second goalkeeper. Here's Sato, who has had to lead a bit this afternoon in a team that feels a bit depleted. Cassidy, raking ball over the top, but it's just perhaps getting some of the rust off.
Georgia Cassidy has been the player since she's come on to try and look beyond the Melbourne Victory defence, to try and probe and put some balls in behind. In that previous play, Brooking was just so deep. There's no one actually stepping on to the Melbourne Victory defence from Perth Glory. They don't really have that focal point and trying to get someone on Kayla Morrison or on their back line, on the shoulder, so they can actually look for those balls in behind. Again, I think it's been the story of the match for Glory. Everything has been in front of Melbourne Victory, and they're such a good team defensively. We know they are. That is Jeff Hopkins 101. Kayla Morrison says all that, you know, defence is what they work on constantly. So I think it's just all been a bit too predictable from Perth Glory and made it really comfortable for the Victory to defend.
It's confirmation of that change in the debutant in Clancy Westaway. The 18-year-old. And that centering ball has Kennedy White's name on it. Dallas Day is off her line. And a few words exchanged between Oni Zog and Kennedy White. Pass finds Badawia. Chinema tidies up and Sato. Nice movement inside from Badawia. Skips past Taylor Ray. Her ball through. You could see what she was doing, but it was a big ask to find True.
There was True against 3 or 4 Victory defenders. At least Badawia was looking beyond that last line, but it's just not enough players making those runs ahead of the ball for Perth Glory.
So inside the final 10 minutes. It's a nice touch by White. Has a bit of support wide through Pollicina, whose first time cross looks for a Victory shirt back inside. Some of the passes a little hopeful at the moment. It's brought down neatly by Badawia. Janchevsky's close by. Iskia Brookin. And Badawia again. Scanning is Westaway. Releases Johnston. McMeekin standing up to task. Turns Johnston back. Westaway. She'll get across in far post. Sato working hard, but that asking too much.
Well, that was the ball, the far post ball, because Melbourne Victory had 7 of their players inside the 18-yard box to Perth Glory's 2.
And so Rihanna Pollicina makes way. A goal for the afternoon, as the third of that first half. And Jess Young, just her second appearance for the afternoon. 21-year-old midfielder looking just to see out the last 5 or so minutes of regulation time. what was a really solid performance by Pollicina once again.
It was nice to see the freedom of movement with Pollicina and Rachel Lowe. Grace Marr just sitting in front of the back line of Melbourne Victory. So just allowing them to kind of move around, find little pockets of space. She covered plenty of ground today, Pollicina. And I think that's when you see her at her best, when she's not necessarily confined to a specific role. It's more like that creative number 10 where she can just kind of ghost into pockets and find those little bits of space.
Possession across the pitch. There's a fair amount happening in the middle third. In the final 5 minutes of regulation time. That's a neat touch by Sardo. Finds Badawia inside. Badawia needs some support, just not enough numbers forward from the Glory. Difficult afternoon. Mind you, Stephen Peters will be much happier with a second half of 0-0 as it stands. And Jeff Hopkins, you'd imagine, a bit frustrated at the fact. Still with Perth. Johnston works tirelessly down that left-hand side. Now Anderson. Shinema wide to Sardo, who can drive inside. Keeps pushing, keeps trying, Julia Sardo. There's Cassidy. A lot of lateral movement from Perth, but unable to find those passes forward.
Yeah, exactly right, Grace. That side to side, they've done it okay at times. But again, it's all in front of Melbourne Victory. They really don't have a focal point. Even Brookings, since she's come on, is actually still sitting quite deep, almost like a number 10. They don't have anyone further up to try and occupy the Melbourne Victory defenders. And I think it's just been a really comfortable afternoon defensively for Melbourne Victory. And to your point before, yeah, I'm sure Jeff Hopkins, and on reflection for the second half, have they created enough chances to go away really happy? Probably not. However, when you go into a match with 3-0 at half-time, you tend to take the foot off the pedal a little bit.
Grady will try her chance from the edge of the 18-yard box. And it was under heavy pressure, managed to get a shot away.
She did really well. Nice big touch around the corner, just stretching towards the end to get that shot away.
Just a couple of minutes of regulation time remaining. The second half is well and truly petered out. And Kennedy White still trying, still working, still pushing forward. It's just brought to ground by Zog.
Bit of frustration by Zog. No need to give away a free kick there, but we're pretty deep into the second half. It's been a tough old day at the office for the Perth Glory defenders.
It's a free kick that no doubt will come off the boot of Alana Janchevsky, the in-swinger, tasked with majority of the set pieces for this Victory side. Jess Young standing nearby if needed. Numbers around the box, good pressure. You can see standing near the penalty spot. Two arms in the air. Janchevsky, will she go for goal? No. Loops up a number to the far post. Inside the 6-yard box. Lots of bodies. Here's Lowe. Back through Ray. Searching ball over the top. But the offside flag is up. Stay looking to get things moving. The line remaining fairly high for Victory. They just start to retreat now.
I'm surprised even for Perth Glory, just in the first instance, it's an offside. Just get out, push up. It's the last couple of minutes of the game. You spent a lot of time in your own half during this second 45 minutes.
Janchevsky, she's been busy, as has Sardo. Janchevsky comes out on top on this occasion and Zog all but gives herself away with the little pull of the shirt. 5 minutes added at the end of regulation 90. 5 minutes for Victory to manage out a result. 5 minutes for Perth, maybe a consolation.
These are tough as a player on both sides. In Perth Glory are probably like, please put us out of our misery. We've got another 5 minutes. Hasn't been too much happening. And Victory are kind of like, we've won the game. Let's just get on with it, get into a warm shower, get out of the cold rain and start preparing for next week.
Well, a shorter turnaround for Victory, speaking of next week, Friday night against Canberra, Perth with the bye. And 12 degrees now at the home of the Matildas, so a warm shower, well and truly deserved.
Absolutely, and I was just going to say there, Grace, just about the drop in intensity in this second half. There hasn't been too much of it, but I think Victory have been so comfortable.
O'Grady off the left boot, her cross. Cassidy's there. Young, Meakin, Brookie, Janchevsky if she can. Blocked by Chinema. Westaway. No movement, although limited, has looked promising in the first few minutes we've seen of Clancy Westaway.
I'm just having a little chuckle, can still hear Jeff urging them to press, keep the intensity up.
Johnston, who is always full of industry, has worked hard this afternoon yet again for Perth. Here's Chinema. Down the line to Badawia. Janchevsky working hard to get back into position. Badawia, she's got that kind of finish in her locker. She can make it happen. Westaway. Promising signs by the youngster. Just as quickly as the chance opened up, Victory clamp it down.
That's like the third time Rolla Badawia has had that ball and then just trying to turn back into feet. I know she looks quite fatigued as well, has spent long periods of time without the ball. Those straight balls away from goal, down into those channels. She's still trying to make something happen, but when you are under fatigue, it becomes predictable. You're just trying to turn back into feet. The defenders know what you're going to do. You want to get directly towards goal.
White dropping deep to pick up possession for Victory. Hefty challenge. Referee plays advantage. Sakala slow to her feet. Down the line to McMeekin. Little toe forward, and she looks for the cross, centering into Young. Zog is there. O'Grady. Low to McMeekin. And back through to Taylor Ray, who's had limited touches since coming on, but looked comfortable enough. Jeff Hopkins said it might still be just a little early, but she's out on the field, Taylor Ray, and if she's on the bench named to play, you hope she's fit and firing. Great to see her back out there. Sakalis now, edge of the 18, almost contact. Brooking clips that away, but only as far as Morrison, who can reload through Newbon. So into the final minute of stoppage time. In the second half that is really slowed down as the temperatures dropped. But a ball over the top, and Badawia, she'll put the head down, driving in, has a bit of time, has a decision to make. Perhaps not the right one. It's a tired cross. It's a tired pass from Rolla Badawia.
Yeah, it was spot on, Grace. Just look, that level of fatigue. It's hard work when you spend so long without the ball, trying to make something happen down that right-hand side. She was trying to take it closer towards goal, and then just those tired legs brought that lack of quality.
Here's Ray. Pushed back by Brooke in. For victory. Back to winning ways. 3 goals and they secure all 3 points at home in an important response from last week. And with this being the standalone game of the weekend, Victory will claim top spot on the table for now. There was a clinical performance. Kennedy White in the 21st minute. Sophia Sakalis following suit, and Pollicina rounding things out in the first half. That leaves us with a full-time score of Melbourne Victory 3, Perth Glory 0. Well, it all happened in the first half, Ish. Not much to show in the second on what was a pretty soggy afternoon at the home of the Matildas.
Yeah, the damage was done. We spoke about before the game the importance of keeping a clean sheet for the first 45 minutes. Perth Glory weren't able to do that, conceding those 3 goals, and then they had a real battle uphill, but it was just all too comfortable for Melbourne Victory.
Comfortable indeed as they managed that result. And a really important one, a clean sheet for the side. Jeff Hopkins will be pleased with that. No doubt he would have wanted a little bit more into the second half, but the game just dropped in intensity, and it was easy enough for Victory just to manage that out into the full 90+ minutes. So a short turnaround for Melbourne Victory, playing host to Canberra United at home on Friday. Perth will get a rest, and perhaps a rest that's needed, the opportunity to take stock and reset before what looks to be a good string of home games for the travelling Glory. Well, let's get stuck into some of the highlights, most of which came in that first 45 minutes. And it was Kennedy White who really got things underway, but Zoe McMeekin, who was busy all afternoon down the right-hand flank for Victory.
Yeah, this is the second phase from a corner. The ball had popped out. McMeekin keeping it alive, playing it into a really dangerous area between the penalty spot and the 6-yard box. And Kennedy White doing really well, just having to check, coming back away and tucking it into the top corner.
Well, what could have been for Perth a chance and a response came very quickly. Good centering ball from Sardo, and it was Badawia off the post. Lincoln, who couldn't get a touch, and that was probably the best of Perth's chances.
Absolutely, and it could have changed the momentum of the game. You never know, but I think on reflection, quality all over the park. Holly Furphy